You know that feeling, like you've basically been an adult for as long as you can remember? It's a feeling a lot of people have, but they can't always put a name to it. It's the sense that you were the one holding everything together, way before you were supposed to. Well, let's dive into what that experience actually is, because guess what? It has a name.
Wow. This quote really just gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? Maybe you were 7, maybe you were 10, but at some point, something just shifted. You looked at the adults in your life and you just knew, without a single word being said, that if you didn't become the stable one, no one would. So, let's just ask it straight up. Does this sound familiar to you? This whole experience of having to be the rock, the caretaker, the peacekeeper, it's a very real thing, and it has a name. So, the clinical term for this is parentification. And it's such an important word because it gives a name to this hidden grief, this unspoken weight that so many of us carry from childhood right into our adult lives. So, what does that even mean? Well, simply put, it's when a kid is forced into roles and responsibilities that just aren't meant for kids. And the wildest part is you were probably praised for it. Oh, you're so mature. You're so responsible. But did anyone ever stop and ask what it was costing you to carry all that? And yeah, that cost, it definitely echoes into adulthood. Those survival skills you had to learn as a kid, they don't just magically disappear. Nope. They become these deep, ingrained patterns that pretty much shape how you move through the world today. So let's get into it. We're going to break down 7 key signs that show exactly how this childhood experience is still playing out in your life right now. All right, number 1, hypervigilance. And listen, this is way more than just being perceptive. We're talking about a nervous system that has been literally wired to scan for threats 24/7. Think about it. As a kid, you had to read a room in a split second, didn't you? You'd walk in and immediately take the emotional temperature. Is it safe? Is it tense? Well, in adulthood, this turns you into an emotional detective. You notice the tiniest shift in someone's tone, a flicker of an expression that no one else sees, and you feel this urgent need to manage it all, to make things stable again. And that leads us perfectly into our second sign, feeling responsible for how everybody else feels. I mean, if you were your parents' emotional thermostat, you learned one lesson really well. If someone around me is unhappy, it's my job to fix it. And as an adult, wow, that makes it almost impossible to set boundaries or even just say no. Because there's this deep-seated fear that if you're an inconvenience, you might start a fight, or even worse, they might abandon you. Number 3, and this one is a big one. It's that deep-seated belief that your value comes from what you do, not from who you are. See, if love and affection were tied to your performance when you were a kid, how helpful you were, how much you achieved, you learn that love is something to be earned. So as an adult, the idea of just resting can feel incredibly unsafe. You only feel valuable when you're productive, when you're doing. You're constantly stuck in that old survival mode. Next up, number 4. You're the person everyone calls in a crisis. You are the dependable one, fiercely and often very isolatingly self-reliant. You learned really early on that the only person you could truly 100% count on was you. And now that translates into pushing away help or finding it really hard to trust softness and vulnerability in relationships. Your nervous system is just more accustomed to the familiar chaos of doing it all by yourself. And here's sign number 5. Oh, that deep, nagging guilt that pops up the moment you even try to relax. For a child who had to be constantly on, doing nothing was a luxury you just couldn't afford. So as an adult, your brain can interpret rest as a sign that you're failing, that you're neglecting some huge responsibility. And that triggers this low-grade anxiety, that feeling that you just don't deserve this moment of peace. The 6th sign is a really powerful one, using silence as a shield when you're hurt or overwhelmed. Now, this is not about giving someone the silent treatment. This is a learned adaptation. If expressing your pain as a kid was met with dismissal or you were told you were overreacting, you learned that silence is actually safer. It causes way less pain than having your deepest feelings completely invalidated. And finally, we get to the 7th sign. And this one is actually a remarkable and rare strength. And this isn't just some personality quirk. It's a real, recognized phenomenon. It's this incredible ability to be the calm in the absolute center of the storm. This is the paradox of this whole experience. Because you survived so much chaos when you were young, your stress threshold is through the roof. So while everyone else is panicking in an emergency, you just naturally shift into solution mode. Because, let's be honest, you've already been through worse. So if you're seeing yourself in these signs, what now? This is where we shift from just understanding the past to actively building a new future. And we're going to use something called the kintsugi mindset. Kintsugi is this beautiful Japanese art form where, when pottery breaks, they repair it with gold. They highlight the cracks, making the object even more precious because of its history. The breaks aren't a source of shame, they're a source of beauty and strength. And this right here is the key takeaway. You are not broken. You are anti-fragile, which means you have grown stronger through adversity. Your experiences have given you a depth of empathy and resilience that is absolutely profound. That maturity you had, it was a survival strategy. It wasn't a choice. But today, you have a choice. You can choose to care for that inner child who was never allowed to just be a kid. You can choose to set boundaries, to embrace softness, and to honor the simple, radical honesty of your own needs. So I'll just leave you with this. For the first time, you are allowed to grow in a way that is true, gentle, and finally, your own. So the question is, how will you begin to care for the child inside you who never, ever got to rest?